Before the crash, I looked only at things on the earth. I looked at the things that were appealing to me on the earth, such as money, a lot of it, and what money can do. The great thing about money, and I grew up with people around my parents and grandparents that had a lot of money. And I watched what that does. It brings power. Money is great, but power is better. It seems to be addictive. And I wanted that. And I wanted travel, and I wanted whatever this life offers. And I thought, not incorrectly, but I thought I could achieve just about any dream that I set for myself. I wouldn't have done well in politics. But I mean, if I set for myself that I'm going to be a multi-millionaire in a certain business, I'd probably accomplish it. If I wanted to be a pilot and own apartment buildings, which was my plan, I could probably accomplish that. So on and so forth. I was really driven to succeed on the earth, but my perspective went about as far as my nose. I could only see just what was right in front of me. And I was really interested in the things of this world. And I had a respect for God, partly from my grandfather and my father, and from some of the friends. I had some respect for God, but there was very little time for God in my life. So that was before the crash. After the crash, nothing is the same, except, the same Dale Black. I have the same tendencies that I've always had. I can easily get off track if I'm allowed to get off track. If I follow my flesh, I'll go off track every time. But here's what I know. I've never heard anybody explain God well. Never. I've never heard a preacher explain God, who He is. I've never heard anyone ever explain how much awe that people have in heaven of who God is. Talk about awe. You cannot stand upright before God except for the blood of Jesus. That's the only way. That's the only way you can do it. There is no pride in heaven. There cannot be pride in the existence or in the presence of God, because pride is human. God does not like pride, and it doesn't exist in heaven either. So my concept of who God is has been revolutionized. It's really hard to explain because I've never seen it on earth. I've never heard anybody explain it well. But if a tiny little tiny being could describe the awesome power of the creator of the billions of galaxies out there and the planets and the stars and the laws that govern it all, and that same creator is the one that loves me and knows the number of hairs on my head and can answer the simple prayer of a person who's praying, and all the prayers will get answered all at the same time. He can be everywhere at one time, and he can answer everybody's needs at one time. If you could understand that, it will change you. Heaven is about God. God created earth. God created man, and He created us in His image. And I can't ever be the same. This floor is different to me now. The floor. Because I see more space in the floor than we see in our natural eyes, because there's a dimension. I call it this first dimension. I'd like to say that clearly. It's the first dimension. Scientists love to claim that, they know all this stuff. There's height and width and depth and time, and that we have all these dimensions, and maybe there's more dimensions than we give credit to even science. But I'm trying to tell you, there is a first dimension, and it's the dimension that might be called the spiritual realm, simple. It's the dimension that everything exists in right now in this room.